Welcome back to Sparrow's Nest Farm. Well, kind of. I'm over at my friend Erin's, and we are going to take a look at her garden today for the guest garden tour. Erin and I have known each other for about 8 years.
That's pretty close.
But we didn't really get close till about 4 years ago on a women's ministry trip, and we've been best friends ever since.
Yes.
So, you want to tell us a little about yourself?
Okay, well, I am a stay-at-home mom at this point / health coach. I love to crochet and be outside. We have a decent garden here. Not sure what's going on with it yet this year. This is where Jen, it's awesome to have her as a feather in my cap because she is my garden guru. And I enjoy her. Other than that, I like to read. That's something we share in common. Like to read, like to crochet. Like to talk about nature and garden, and I have 4 children that keep me very, very busy, and they love Jen, and I love Jen.
Well, I love them too.
Oh, good.
All right. Shall we get down to the actual business of the day?
Sure.
Let's go see the garden.
All right. Uh-oh. Welcome to our garden. We moved out to this space. We actually live in town here in Eden, Ohio. We moved here just about 5 years ago, and it's one of the biggest properties that you can get if you're in town. It's almost a full half an acre. So Brian and I designed the garden fence ourselves, and we used it, or we built it using repurposed materials. The posts that you see all around, which hold up the chicken wire, are actually from my dad's barn that we took down about 10 years ago. The only thing that we really purchased to create the garden space was the chicken wire and the screws to hold everything together. So we did this because out here we have a lot of rabbits and a lot of things that like to get into your garden and wreak havoc on growing plants. So around the outside you'll notice we've got this space. Right here is where I have designed a new flower bed. I love irises, and I'm pretty sure this is some form of a coneflower. And I love orange and different fall colors, so my husband knew that, and this is what he got for me. Anyway, moving this way, you'll notice that we do have the bare spot here in front and the bare spot clear down the side here. The vision for this is that we are going to build more raised beds around the outside of the garden to expand, possibly for a more herb garden or future plants, whatever we decide to get. If you come this way, we have a vision for our backyard as an orchard. Obviously the one tree standing there is the beginning of the orchard, but we were told that about 30 years ago this property actually had a full orchard going all the way back to the field, and our desire is to create that again so that we can have fresh fruits and be able to can and do things more. This is supposed to be our strawberry patch. This year was really tough on our strawberries. Late frost coupled with super hot temperatures really fast in the year just stunted their growth and made the weeds go bananas. Hopefully we're going to get this all cleaned out this fall, and we're going to be doing a lot more with this next year. Moving on to this side, this is where we have our calendula flower. I use this in creating a salve for our daughter. She has some skin conditions, so it's really nice to have this flower on hand, ready to go and ready to dry as we need it. It's looking a little sad today, but it's been a little dry recently. So hopefully rain later today will mean more flowers later, and I do need to deadhead these big time. Here we have our little Nova raspberry. My kids love raspberries. They love berries in general. And this is, we planted this the first year we had our garden. This is another vining raspberry, technically a black raspberry. As you can see, it's kind of gotten away from us. It definitely needs to be pruned come fall, and the kids have really been enjoying it because there's no berries left. Right here we have our green grapevine. We did have 2 at one point over here in the lily bed for germination purposes, but the second one died last year for unknown reasons, so my husband decided it was a good lily bed, and it just offers some beautiful color down here. And then we have our onion pit, as I call it. We do a lot of cooking with onions, so we like to have a lot on hand for the fall and winter months.
Those look really good.
Yeah, they do need to be weeded terribly though.
It happens.
Sounds like a good project for other Degroff members of the family.
Small ones.
Small ones indeed. Moving into the interior of our garden, I don't know about you guys, but I know Jen has already done some videos on this. Our garden's kind of struggled this year, especially in our tomato area, and I'm going to take you to the back and work our way forward. As you'll see as we walk, we've got some volunteer beans. My son spilled the beans this year when we were planting, and this is what resulted from it. So, oh, look at that. And I don't mean the flying kind. So, my husband, this is the first.
Where do you get seeds for those?
I don't know, but they're really pretty and they grow fast.
Yeah.
And they get hard too. They're not very tasty. So the design and layout for our garden this year was inspired by my husband. Ordinarily, we kind of do a hodgepodge planting where we do some, I don't want to call it husbandry planting, companion planting. If you've ever read the book, Carrots Love Tomatoes, that's kind of where we get the idea for most of our planting and how we do things in the garden. But my husband, being the Marine that he is, wanted something a little bit more, a little bit easier to weed with some more space in between for plants to truly develop and grow. So what we did this year was we did our rows. We mounded the dirt this year, and we get all of our dirt from my granddad. He has a peat moss farm just a little ways from here. But we mounded it up and we used weed fabric in between and planted the plants at certain intervals in between that. Our zucchini is rocking this year. In fact, I see one that my family can pick later on for dinner tonight. But beyond that, you'll notice that we have straw laid down. This is another form of weed barrier for us. It just helps keep the moisture in the soil because right now we don't have a lot of rain happening. And it helps prevent against weeds popping through. You'll see a few here and there, but nothing we can't handle really quickly. So we have our zucchini over here and our various cabbages here. I don't know about you guys, but our cabbage has not been doing very well this year. Jen, did you plant cabbage this year?
I did not, because by the time I got the garden ready to go, it was too late to plant cabbages, so I just didn't do it. And then I was going to do it for fall garden, and I pulled out my garden planner yesterday and realized I was 3 weeks late for starting seeds for fall garden.
Crud.
So no cabbage for me this year.
Well, if ours gets off the ground, you're welcome to some of ours. I don't know. This year is just not a pretty year for cabbage. We did lose a pepper plant. You'll notice there is a small hole over there. We did lose a pepper plant, but the other three seem to be doing really, really well. They are late this year by far. Usually I've got quite the harvest off of them already. But these are the stoplight variety, so they will be orange, red, and yellow when they mature. Our family likes the sweeter colored peppers versus the green peppers. Here's our broccoli, and I've been really impressed. This is the first year I've ever grown broccoli because it's something that I've come to love in my adult years more so than in my childhood years. And I'm really impressed with the heads that are beginning.
Oh, look at there.
I've got cute little heads starting.
Sure enough.
Here I thought they were all going to be just leaves, but there's an itty bitty baby one too. Just a beginner. There are some bugs eating at my plants this year, so trying to figure that out, but
everybody's having bug problems at the farmer's market. That's all we're talking about is the bug problems everyone's having.
I believe it. I am not sure what's going on with my cucumbers this year. I tried to train them to grow upward, and I don't think they cared for it too much. I planted a pickling variety that is supposed to stay crisper when you pickle them, because that's how we like to do things. We like cucumbers. See, look here, this one. was not here yesterday, but look how yellow it is already. And my plants, I can't find any manner of bugs, and it's plenty of water. Not overwatered though. Not real sure what the deal is, but who knows. So there's our pickle cucumbers, and then here starts our tomato patch. We do a lot of canning of tomatoes. The last 2 years, the tomatoes have not grown at all in our garden, so we've actually purchased them from local farmers to can up for the winter times. We make our own spaghetti sauce, we make our own pizza sauce, we make our own kind of like V8 juice. But this is kind of what we were hoping for. Now this year, again, and I'm not sure, I need to do some more research. Jen has been a huge help to me on this one. But our tomatoes are just really, really struggling. Doesn't seem to matter what we do, whether it's natural fertilizer, which banana peels and water, awesome, leave it sit for a week in a mason jar. Telling you, tomatoes love potassium. Anyway, down to getting some blood meal to put in the ground, and our tomatoes are just really, really struggling. They started out really healthy, they started out really vibrant, and then all of a sudden, wham, and this is what you see. We've lost 2 plants so far. Jen was kind enough to show me how to start suckers. And so I have some new ones planted over here in these pots, and I'll show you those in a minute, hoping that maybe we can get a late harvest off of those 2 plants. And when I say late, I mean late harvest. Or pull them in the house, who knows. So we have our cherry variety here, cherry/grape. These are called Lemon Boys. They are very, very yellow when they mature. And they're big, they're about beefsteak size. I believe these 2 are also Lemon Boys, but I don't know anymore. I guess what we get off of them, we get off of them.
That's kind of the take that I have on it anymore.
Yeah, if we get anything off of them, it'll be great.
Thankful for what I get.
I believe these 3 are our Celebrity, which is a very hardy, if you've never heard of Celebrity, it's a very hardy, disease resistant.
It's a hybrid, and hybrids are often very disease resistant. That's if you're having problems in your garden with pest pressure or any kind of mold or mildew or bacterial pressure, go with hybrids. They get a bad name, but they're actually really good for gardens that have some issues.
Which is why we went with them. Anyway, our Cherokee purples are here. And then our aromas. Our last 3 plants are aroma tomatoes, which are awesome if you're looking to do. They have a great flavor, and depending on your soil, they can tend to be a little acidic, but they have a very sweet flavor for things like your Italian dishes and things like that, which is why we like to plant them. Our corn originally started here and went clear over to the summer squash. These are the only ones that came up, so these must have been my very good and hardy seeds this year. We are very proud of the corn, and once again, we've never had luck with corn. It's always been very stunted. So, but it's also never been this, like the stalks have never been this thick this early, so we're kind of hoping this year's a really good year. Even if we only get like 4 ears, I don't care. We get ears. Like I said, our summer squash, we like squash around here, so I like to trick my kids into eating it. This is why I grow it. This plant has been probably the best plant I've had since we moved here.
Yeah, my yellow squash looked really good until the squash bugs and the vine borers took it out. This one looks fantastic.
I'm so pleased with it this year.
The yellow seems to, the yellow squash seems to do a lot better as far as bugs and disease. When everything else wasn't working, the yellow squash was the one thing that stayed alive. And you can see that seems to be the case in her garden too. This yellow squash looks great. And the zucchinis, they're producing, but they've got some powdery mildew and they've got some bug pressure. So I don't know, maybe I should switch to more yellow squash.
I love yellow squash. I just love it. You can do so much with it. This is our only bush bean that came up this year. This little itty bitty baby right here, and it finally has some blossoms on it. So I'm hoping that we at least get like a handful of beans. The other beans that I showed you earlier, those are pole beans.
I was going to say, you've got some here.
Yep. For whatever reason, the pole beans, our family tends to prefer a bush bean over a pole bean, and I'm not sure why the kids do that. I've never noticed a general flavor difference, but what they eat, I plant, whatever. So, these are our 3 voluntary sunflowers this year. This one is so strange, and I wanted to show you, Jen, how it grew up and then sideways. And I don't really know why, but it's still very pretty. Our daughter Samantha loves sunflowers, so the first year we were here, actually, this was more of a sunflower garden. Bella had just had open heart surgery, so we didn't have the time or the energy to put into a garden, so we let her plant sunflowers out here for the birds. And these are apparently 3 volunteer sunflowers. Pretty cool to me. Over here we have our sweet peas. I did something a little different this year. Last year I went all the way around the exterior, or not the exterior, but the interior side of the wall and trained them to grow up. Planting seeds very methodically. This year we tilled and I literally cast seeds in the ground and my son hoed over them, and we figured what comes up comes up. And I'm pretty impressed with their growth. We actually did this, it was really late because it's been a strange year. We probably did this about 6 weeks ago, and this is the growth we already have with them. So we're very, very pleased. My husband and I are pretty much the only ones that like peas. So that's why we didn't grow a whole bunch of them this year, because last year we had way too many, like way too many. And they got frozen, and they just don't taste as good frozen. We have had some, here's our milkweeds. These are volunteer milkweed here and here. If you are into butterflies, grow milkweed. I know that people talk about it as a weed, but the monarch butterfly really loves milkweed plants. If you want to have more butterfly action in your gardens, which again is good for pollination, grow milkweed and other flowers around your gardens. You won't regret it.
If you like swallowtail butterflies, grow dill.
Yes.
Dill is one of the things that the swallowtails will lay on, whereas the milkweed is the only plant that the monarch will do.
White butterflies are non-discriminatory. My kids like to chase them.
Those are actually moths.
Oh, well.
They bring pests.
Then I guess I don't feel so bad when Bella goes, "Look, Mom." Here's our the last surviving watermelon plant. These have not done well this year. We had originally 3 watermelon plants in a row. This is the first year watermelons have not done well in our garden. Every single year they seem to produce in abundance, except for this year. But to be fair, this is the very first year I've gone from seed. I didn't go from seed the last few years. I actually started watermelon plants at a farmer's market. So as you can see, it should have a lot more growth than this by now. And we do have some yellow spots starting on it. This was the beginning of a vine and it's now dying off at the end. So my assumption is I'm probably going to lose this plant in the end. Farmers markets, watch out, because the Degroff family is going to be coming to buy watermelon. So here we come. These are the two surviving suckers of the 3 or 4 that Jen and I snipped about a week and a half ago. I do not know what they are. I can't remember. So they're going to be a surprise. Whatever comes up is what we'll eat.
That's we weren't really sure what they were when we snipped them because there were no fruits on the plants yet. We just knew that she was having some herbicide damage on some of her tomatoes and we needed to plan for new tomatoes quickly. Mm-hmm. And rooting suckers is a great way to get a head start on new tomatoes.
Yep, that's we actually have about 6 more started in the house right now, which I can show you those. Dane and I are doing a little experiment. That's my 13-year-old. We're doing a little experiment to see how these bad boys grow clipped off of ones that have pesticide damage or herbicide damage.
So I had to stop here real quick. This is the back of their garage, and I just wanted to admire all the beautiful lilies, the hosta. That's an iris. Look how pretty this looks. This is Brian's project, Aaron's husband. He is a real lover of these, and he likes things to be really beautiful. So this is his baby, and I'm happy to see it. It's beautiful.
So this is our makeshift herb garden. Generally, I grow them on the porch, but this year things got a little bit explosive. And so I brought them outside because I haven't been able to tend to them as well inside as I would have liked to. Over here with the start, we have my chamomile. It's struggling just a little bit, and I have to believe that, well, to be fair, I was away quite a bit the last month with our daughter, and it didn't get watered like it should have. So now that it's outdoors, and as you can hear, we're about to get some lovely rain, I hope. Unfortunately, as you look at this, a lot of my herbs did die off this year. Namely my lavender, my rosemary, my sage did not do very well. Luckily, my stevia, which is one of my favorite things to grow because I don't use sugar in my own diet. I use a lot of stevia as my natural sweetener. Lemon balm, which for those of you that may have kids that have ADHD, ADD, lemon balm is a great natural way to, I don't want to say control it, but it's something that will calm them if you rub it in your hand and just rub it on their face or underneath their nose. It really helps our daughter a lot. I am trying to nurse our time back to health. Slowly, I do have a couple little live sprigs here.
Sure enough.
There are a few.
I would cut back all of the dry stuff there.
Yeah. I probably will do that later today. Just cut that right off. My cat's favorite plant is in the big pot. We always grow a huge pot of catnip every year because my cats are potheads. So once again, this was lavender. It really did well early on, and then now it's not. It's a little bit overwatered, it feels like right now. I'll probably pull it up and start over, to be honest with you. This was dill. It's been cut off because it was ready to be harvested and dried. My son's plant, never mind that. And this here is our basil. I do grow and dry basil quite often. In fact, we had a new cutting here not that long ago. The plant had started to bolt, and so in order to increase growth outward, Jen instructed me to snip off those top bits down to a certain level and allow it to bush out a little bit. And as you can see, we do have quite a bit of new growth starting on here, and that makes me very excited. I love growing our own food and our own herbs. It's very exciting to be able to provide for our family like that. And it's cheaper.
So this is Dane. He is Erin's oldest son, and he helps her out quite a bit around here. So I wanted to give him a little quick interview. So Dane, what do you think about Mom's garden?
Definitely better than a couple years ago. There's more plants because a lot of them died the first year.
What's your favorite thing that you guys grow?
Strawberries, but those didn't do anything this year. My second favorite would have to be raspberries.
You berry man, huh?
Yes, I am.
What's your least favorite garden chore?
Getting it ready, like when you till the garden and then you have to rake all the weeds and stuff out. I hate that. It's annoying.
And what's your most favorite garden chore?
Picking.
Picking?
Yeah.
That's the fun part. So when you get older, do you think you'll have a garden too?
Most definitely.
Most definitely?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to come in?
Okay, we'll edit that. So, thanks for joining us on today's garden tour. Sorry, we've got giggles.
Every day.
I'm falling down this hill.
I have bugs in my face. Hold on. Is this gonna go in your outtake video?
It might just go in the video. This is
I
us.
just swallowed a bug. I do not have corona. I swallowed a bug.
Corona.
Only with lime.
All right, we're gonna try and end this now in a serious manner. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. God bless.